Hello everyone, my name is Jordan, also known as X-3. Today we're going to be looking at some very heavy percussion. I've thrown some of these percussion samples that I've made by using a resample technique. I'm going to show you guys how to take that resample technique and make these very fat percussion sounds. So take a listen to this demo that I've provided with you guys. And yeah, I want to show you guys how to create this sick sound. So take a listen. Okay, so what I used is these sample packs that I've obtained from SupaStars. The description will be in the link below. And with that being said, there's a lot of content and material to work from. So in order to set up our drum track and to get our percussion going, we need exactly 4 audio tracks. And amongst these audio tracks, we're going to drop in 4 auto filters. Now for the last auto filter on audio 4, we're actually going to set this on a high pass and throw the frequency all the way to full. What this will do is that it will remove some of the sub bass, but still allow some of the merged kicks to still obtain some of their deep and low end, just removing some of the bass. So that way, if you decide to add a sub, it will fit nicely. So with these audio tracks, I'm going to basically look around inside of these sample packs for drums that hit low and heavy. So I'm going to go on over to my progressions 2, drum hits, and I'm going to choose a bass drum that will look pretty well. So go on over to your session view and open up all your audio tracks. So we're going to look for a kick that is very big but not too distorted. I like this kick number 5, so let's zoom in. As you can see, it's somewhat distorted at the top, so take the gain a little bit down. And for the audio filter, we're going to take the frequency all the way back and the Q all the way to 0. For the frequency, let's make the frequency about 60 Hz. And the Q all the way at as low as it can go. What this will do is that this will make the kick hit like a sub. So we're going to merge that with a very fat mid-range. So look for another kick that is about mid-range but not high-end. I like number 4 because it has a lot of meat in the middle. Do the same thing with number 1. Take the audio gain down a bit so that way it doesn't distort. For the auto filter, we're actually going to take this to a high pass and set this somewhere around 200 Hz. And you also want to take down some of the Q, so that way it doesn't hit too hard. Listen to our kick now. Very nice, very punchy, but we want that high end. So I'm going to go on over to my new Electro 2 and choose the bass drum from within here that we're going to add. I like this number 1 since it has a lot of high end, and since it's not too distorted, I'm basically going to set its filter on a high pass and set it to somewhere around 500 Hz. Take the Q down a bit, and now let's have a listen to our kick. It's a very fat but very beefy kick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my 4th one on resample, arm it, and then record these kick drums to create a new kick drum. So here we have our new kick drum, so I'm going to call this fat kick. I spelled it with a PH because it's twice as fat. So take the sample by clicking and holding, going over to your MIDI track and dropping it in. but we actually want to drop this on a drum rack. So drop in a drum rack and take this sample, drop it on C1, rename this to Fat Kick. Okay, so now that we have our filters set up in the right frequency range, we can do this with all of our snares and claps. We just need to adjust certain frequencies. So since this tutorial is supposed to be very short, I'm going to show you how to create 3 different samples. So I've already shown you how to create the kick. Let's go ahead and create the clap. So for the clap, we need to have it smash pretty hard. In order to do this, we need some very happy or some very distorted sounds. So go on over to your progressions promo pack, go into your drum hits, and choose something that you like. Not necessarily something I like, something you like. I like this number 5, so I'm going to take this on my high pass track. That's number 3. And I'm going to choose another clap. This time I'm going to choose both of them from the new electro. I like this number 4. Has a lot of mid, but it's too distorted, so I want to take it down a lot. So that's our clap so far, our clap snare. I'm going to go over to my deep tech and choose a drum hit. Usually deep tech has a lot of hits that are minimal or very different in harmonics. So snares, claps. I like this number 2, but we're actually going to raise the volume. Here we go. Now let's have a listen. I'm going to swap the snare for the lower drum on the lower frequency. There we go. Now I'm going to record this clap. And I noticed there was something a bit wrong. That is, this snare drum doesn't come in at all. So I'm going to actually set this on a bandpass filter. I'm going to set the Q about 1 or 90. I will set it somewhere around 400 or so. Okay, so now I'm going to take the Q down because it sounds a little too loud. I think at 85 Hertz it will actually work for this. Or if you want, you can just totally take this off. I just like the clap with those 2 samples, so let's record it. And make sure your resample is armed. Now let's record it. Okay, so now we have our fat clap. And drag this on over to your drum rack. Rename it. Okay, now for the final one, we're going to work on hats. Hats are some of my most favorite sounds out of all drums and everything else, but I like the sound of real hat. So we're going to go into our hi-hats and look for the most real sounding hats. I think some of the real sounding hats can be found in New Electric. So I like this number 3. It's very minimal. So I'm going to basically delete this auto filter, or actually just basically take it down to about 130 or so. You got to remember that hats are very high in harmonics. They do not contain any low. If they do contain low, be sure to remove it so it doesn't muddy up with your kick. So yeah, I'm just going to browse samples so that way we can actually have something to work with. Ooh, this number 3 from the New Electro 1 sounds perfect. I'm just going to take it down in volume. I think it sounds a little too harsh. So now that's how our hat sounds like, but I want something else. So I'm going to go to my deep tech, sessions number 1. And I like this number 5. It has a lot of ringiness. meaning it has a little bit of white noise. So I want to just take that down a bit. Now let's record our hat. Fat hat. All right, so here is our fat drums with our custom samples. Rename this fat hat. All right, so now let's create a simple drum beat with this. Make it go to 2. And then let's make a simple kick drum pattern from this. I'm gonna set this to 4ths. That, and your fat hats can sit on every 8th. But if you like offset hats, just switch it on over after the kick. Okay, so there you guys have it in your original sounding drums. And yeah, I'll check you guys out later for another tutorial. And as always, be sure to hit a like button if you like this tutorial. I'm trying to come up with some new sounding techniques. But yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a good one. And as always, be safe and have a good one. Peace. Hey everyone, it's Jordan, also known as X-3. I want to say thank you guys so much for following me. And if you hit a like, that always helps me as well. I just got back after class. And yeah, I'll check you guys out later. Thanks for following me. And of course, have a good one. Peace.